Last spring, I watched my neighbor spend an entire Saturday afternoon on his knees, pulling weeds out of his garden beds. By Wednesday, the weeds were back. The following weekend, he drove to the hardware store and came home with a jug of Roundup. He sprayed everything. The weeds died. 3 weeks later, they were back again. He bought another jug. That is the cycle: pull, spray, buy, pull, spray, buy. Meanwhile, his next-door neighbor laid down flattened Amazon boxes over her entire bed, threw some wood chips on top, and did not pull a single weed for the rest of the season. It cost her nothing. The cardboard came from her recycling bin. The wood chips came from a tree trimmer who was happy to dump them for free. She spent 30 minutes total. He spent $400 and lost every weekend from April through September. Both of their gardens looked the same by August, but only one of them had to keep paying. What she did has a name. It is called sheet mulching. And if you grow anything at all, this might be the most valuable 10 minutes you spend this year. Now here's what sheet mulching does biologically, because understanding why it works is the difference between doing it right and wasting your time. Every weed seed in your soil needs exactly one thing to germinate: light. Not a lot of light, not direct sunlight, just a signal, sometimes as faint as a brief flash filtering through loose mulch, telling that seed which direction is up. When you lay a physical barrier, newspaper, cardboard, or heavy brown paper, flat against the soil surface and overlap the edges by at least 6 inches, you create a total blackout. Every weed seed underneath loses its orientation signal. Existing weeds photosynthesize through their leaves, and when you cut off all light to those leaves, the plant starves. Not in a week, not eventually. Within about 2 to 4 weeks, annual weeds are dead. Perennials with deeper root systems take longer, sometimes a full growing season, but they weaken continuously under the barrier until the roots exhaust their stored energy and collapse. That is not folk wisdom from a gardening blog. That is documented by Oregon State University Extension, Texas A&M AgriLife, UC Cooperative Extension, and the University of Florida. A Texas A&M specialist named Jayla Fry described it in 2026 as simple, effective, and something anybody can do. She said it works very, very well. Those are her exact words, not mine. But here is the part that elevates this from a nice garden trick to something that should genuinely frustrate you. This method is not new. A woman named Ruth Stout figured this out in the 1950s. She lived in Connecticut, and she got tired. Tired of tilling. Tired of weeding. Tired of the annual performance that every gardening book in America insisted was necessary. So she stopped doing all of it. She covered her garden in a permanent thick layer of hay and spoiled straw, piled 8 inches deep. She never tilled again. She never weeded again. When she wanted to plant, she pushed the mulch aside, dropped the seed in, and pulled the mulch back. The mulch suppressed every weed, held moisture so she barely watered, and decomposed slowly into compost that fed her soil from the top down. She published a book about it. She grew abundant food this way for decades. She gardened actively into her 90s. Her neighbors thought she was insane until they saw the tomatoes. Ruth Stout proved 70 years ago that the entire foundation of conventional weed management, the tilling, the spraying, the pulling, the purchasing, is optional. You do not need any of it. The weeds need light. Deny them light, and the war is over. That is the entire principle. a child can understand it. So why is the global herbicide industry worth over $60 billion a year? Because cardboard does not have a marketing department. Because no corporation earns a quarterly profit when you flatten a shipping box over your garden bed. Because the glyphosate market alone, just glyphosate, just one chemical, was valued at roughly $9 to $11 billion in 2024. Roundup, the single most famous glyphosate product on Earth, generated billions in annual revenue for Monsanto and then for Bayer after the $63 billion acquisition in 2018. That revenue depends entirely on one fact: the product runs out. You spray it, it kills what it touches. Then it degrades and the weeds come back and you buy more. That is not a flaw in the product. That is the product. Repeat purchase is the business model. Now here's the part that should stop you cold. Bayer has now paid more than $10 billion settling lawsuits from people who say Roundup gave them cancer. In March 2025, a Georgia jury awarded $2 billion to a single plaintiff. In February 2026, Bayer proposed an additional $7.25 billion class settlement to resolve around 65,000 remaining cases. That is over $16 billion in total litigation costs for one herbicide. And the company is still selling it. They have even threatened to pull Roundup from the American market entirely unless Congress passes laws protecting them from future lawsuits. Meanwhile, a flattened cardboard box has never given anyone cancer, costs $0, and kills weeds just as dead. Let me give you the exact method so you can do this over a single weekend. Start with any bed you want cleared, whether it is an existing weedy mess, a section of lawn you want to convert, or a pathway between raised beds. Do not pull the weeds first. That is the beauty of this. Mow or stomp down anything taller than a few inches so the barrier lays flat, but leave the roots right where they are. They are about to become food for your soil. Lay plain brown corrugated cardboard or 6 to 8 sheets of newspaper directly on the ground. Big pieces are better. Appliance boxes are gold. Overlap every edge by at least 6 inches. This is the single most important detail. One permaculture grower put it perfectly on a forum. He said weeds will find any opening, no matter where or how small. If you leave a gap, even a 2-inch gap between 2 pieces of cardboard, something green will punch through it within a month. So overlap generously. Remove any plastic tape and staples from the cardboard. But do not worry about small amounts of ink. Modern newspaper ink is soy-based, and modern cardboard glue is almost always cornstarch. Neither is a meaningful concern. Soak the barrier thoroughly with a hose. Wet cardboard molds to the soil surface, stays in place, and begins decomposing faster. Then cover the whole thing with 3 to 4 inches of mulch. Wood chips are ideal, but straw, shredded leaves, or even grass clippings work. The mulch holds the barrier down, retains moisture, looks decent, and adds another layer of light suppression on top. That is it. One afternoon. One application. No chemicals, no repeat purchase. Here's what happens next. Within 2 to 4 weeks, annual weeds underneath are dead. Over the following months, the cardboard softens and earthworms begin pulling it into the soil. A permaculture gardener in Australia documented this. He sheet mulched with cardboard, covered it with manure and straw, and 8 years later described that soil as still the best soil he has, loose and friable. The worms did not just tolerate the cardboard, they consumed it. They turned a waste product into soil structure. Now, the honest caveats. Because credibility matters more than hype on this channel, sheet mulching is not magic against everything. Aggressive runners like Bermuda grass, bindweed, and quack grass can eventually push through if the barrier is too thin. Use double layers of cardboard for these. Dr. Linda Chalker-Scott at Washington State University Extension also notes that in very dry climates with sandy soil, cardboard can actually shed water sideways instead of letting it percolate down. If you are in a dry summer region, make sure you are watering through the mulch layer or use drip irrigation underneath the cardboard. And slugs love the moist environment under mulch. One gardener on a permaculture forum documented a genuine slug invasion after sheet mulching his entire half-acre. His solution was attracting snakes and ground beetles. Nature handled it within a season. But the core principle is bulletproof and university documented. Block light, weeds die. Cardboard decomposes, soil improves. Mulch retains moisture, reduces watering. One application replaces years of spraying. Another forum grower in New York said his goal with mulching was to make his soil so dark and so alive that archaeologists dig it up 1,000 years from now and argue about its origin. That is the ambition. That is the mindset of someone who understands that soil is not a consumable. It is infrastructure. You build it once and it pays you back forever. Ruth Stout understood this 70 years ago. Indigenous farmers understood it for millennia before her. The science has been documented by every major extension service in the country. The only reason this is not standard practice in every backyard in America is that it does not generate a receipt. A flattened shipping box cannot be patented, bottled, branded, or sold on an end cap at the garden center. And that would be all for today. Be sure to share this video with someone who is still buying spray and subscribe to the channel right away. I've got loads of buried gardening secrets coming your way.